Still on the handling of the Brereton report, I've spoken to a lot of former soldiers, some right here on this program, who are furious about plans to strip thousands of medals from men and women who cherish what they say they deserved. Sky News viewers have been writing to us here through the email and in letters, furious over the haste used by the ADF to adjudicate on these allegations so soon in the process. And now this discovery today that the Queen signed off on changes to military citations only a couple of months ago, prior to the release of this damning report. It does look far too coincidental, and that would be the case for so many Australians. There's someone whose opinion I value greatly on issues of defence, and that's former Major General Senator Jim Molan, who most of you know served in Iraq in 2004 as Chief of Allied Operations. He was also awarded the Distinguished Service Cross as well as the Legion of Merit by the US government. And he joins me right now. Jim, good to have you with us.
Chris, good to be here. Thank you.
These are very sensitive issues, but the handling of the Brereton report does get murkier. We discovered today that the Queen signed off on changes to military citations, and initially it would appear that there was some connection between the two. But are you able to confirm for us that this is, as we were told by the Ministry today, the final act from a group of amendments which were moved in 2014?
Chris, I don't have personal information on that. I didn't work on this. I heard Simon Birmingham today give an answer to, I think it was Jackie Lambie who raised the issue in question time, and he said exactly what you have just said. I've heard what the Defence Minister said, and it is quite a feasible answer. I don't think, I'm not a great believer in conspiracies. Invariably, conspiracies go appallingly wrong.
Yep.
So I think I would take this at face value and stop worrying about, that there's some great conspiracy to pull down someone somewhere in relation to something. These are pretty straightforward issues, and no one handles anything perfectly when you do it for the first time. And I think that's what we're seeing now.
To skip from a report which was held in camera and had a set of recommendations, to skip from that straight to removing meritorious citations was an error from the get-go, was it not?
I am not going to say it was an error, but I'm very happy to explain how I think of it. And I think that there are two things running here. The first thing is that Brereton went through for 4 years every bit of information. Some people say, oh, it was Afghans giving it. Well, there were 300 witnesses, the vast majority of whom were the people who are alleged to have conducted bad things. Their mates gave evidence against them. Now, we all saw a couple of weeks ago, which everyone seems to have forgotten about, an article by Special Forces soldiers who came out and said they are not us, referring to the people in the subject of the allegations. So the first thing I'd say, Chris, by way of explanation, I'm not taking sides. No, I'm mad to take sides in this one. I will take sides personally to the Prime Minister. The first thing to think of is that over 4 years, investigations were conducted and they came up with what Brereton calls credible information. That credible information is that certain killings took place not related to a battlefield. That was a key point you made before, Chris. These were not related to a battlefield or to the heat of battle. Much better put, the heat of battle. So that is, according to Justice Brereton, that occurred. Okay, he's not saying who did it. He's left that up to the courts to decide. The second part is the decision as to who did it. So many people are commentating and they're confusing the two.
Yep.
They're saying that by looking at the first, that is, these things occurred, there are dead bodies. There's video you just showed before. That these things occurred, therefore there's no presumption of innocence. I don't see that at all, mate. I see facts coming, it's not facts, credible information coming out of a report over 4 years by a justice. Secondly, at some stage in the future, the culpability, the criminality of people will be looked at in relation to these alleged crimes.
So you're saying that they need to be tested in a court of law, right? That's what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. What are your thoughts on Jackie Lambie today? Delivered with all the venom that she could muster, of course, but forget about the way she delivered it. What she had to say about backing off these men. And I would have thought what we're hearing from veterans in general about how they feel and about how hurt they are, especially the 3,000 who are fearing that they might lose their meritorious citation. Isn't it time we just paused? We took a long, deep breath and paused and allowed the process of justice to run its course?
Well, from what I can see, the only people not pausing are those who are commentating at the moment and screaming for a pause. You know, the media's keeping it going, certain senators are keeping it going, various activists within the defence community, special forces soldiers, are keeping it going. Well, you know, I've seen so often in my short career as a politician, people who stand and demand things that in all probability have happened, and when they've happened, they say, look how good I am, I made this happen. So if we stop getting out there and screaming about it and actually looked at what the CDF has said and done, maybe it will go quiet. I absolutely agree. We need a period of quietness now, because the CDF and his people are going through a whole bunch of things to prepare themselves at some stage in the future to take this to the next step. So, okay. As I say, Chris, I bet the only people I can see demanding, who haven't stepped back, are those demanding that everyone steps back.
I want to get to the Foreign Relations Bill passed in Parliament today. Can you explain to viewers exactly how powerful this bill is for someone like the Foreign Minister?
Oh, this is tremendously powerful bill, not just for the Foreign Minister, it's tremendously powerful for this country, because our federation was constructed in a totally different time, as most of us have realised over the last 12 months, and the limitations to that federation. What this bill does is complete the part of the federation which says that we're responsible at the federal level for foreign affairs. And that has been observed in the breach in many, many areas, and it allows, quick as a flash, nothing much will happen in relation to this bill for 3 months. And in 3 months' time, everyone who is making foreign links, such as universities or states or territories, who are making agreements with foreign countries in the nature of foreign affairs, will be asked to provide those to the Foreign Minister. The Foreign Minister will assess them and look at them and then can move on them. And I think that's very, very important. We cannot have in this federation, going into the future that we face, a split in this country.
No, we want everyone to be on the same page. You're exactly right. And
we do.
I'm so pleased that this passed today. One final thing. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump sending more warships, or ruling that more warships should come to the Pacific, similar to what ended in 1975 with what's called the First Fleet? This is about China too, isn't it?
Yes, of course this is about China. And in 75, after the Vietnam War, the Americans backed off from the fact that they had what was called the First Fleet, not our Captain Cook's First Fleet, but Philip's First Fleet, but Captain Cook's First Fleet, I should say. But this is the American First Fleet compared to the Seventh Fleet. Yep. Now, at the moment, we've only got the Seventh Fleet. The Americans look like splitting that because they can't construct ships fast enough. The Americans look like splitting that, putting half of it into the Indian Ocean, calling it the First Fleet, and half of it into the Pacific and leaving that as the Seventh Fleet. That's an acknowledgement that the Indo-Pacific is an enormous area which really has to be addressed. The fact of the matter is, Chris, you can keep dividing American forces as often as you like, you don't make them any bigger. And the American forces have had a 30% to 50% reduction in their capability from 1991, the end of the Cold War, until now. Yep. And Australians must realise that. We can no longer depend on the Americans to rescue all their allies. Let's hope they can come and rescue us. The alternative is to get strong ourselves, and that's what I hope the Prime Minister's strategy going into the future will be.
Love your wisdom, love your insight. Jim Molan, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.